Hello guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Gabriel, and today what we're going to be talking about is a different type of aggression that can arise between dogs. And the reason I want to talk about this topic is because I want to provide some guidance or advice on how to handle certain situations. The first thing to know is that there are many types of aggressions. The way I remember them all is because I put the aggressions in two categories: defensive aggression and offensive aggression. Now you might be asking yourself, what is defensive aggression? Well, defensive aggression is when the dog feels threatened and feels that it has to defend himself. That's what I call defensive aggression. Type of aggressions that exist in that category are the following: fear aggression, barrier frustration or barrier aggression, resource guarding or resource aggressive, and lastly, pain-induced aggression. The first type of aggression that we're going to be talking about is fear aggression. And fear aggression is very common in timid dogs. The reason of why your dog would be timid are the following. The first reason is the size of the dog. Usually smaller sized dogs are more timid than larger breeds. And this can be because they feel threatened when there are bigger objects, people, animals around them. So they just feel threatened. The second reason would be personality. Some dogs are just timid since they're born, and you're gonna have to learn how to adapt to certain situations. Some dogs have a low tolerance toward new people, strangers, toward puppies, babies, kids, and you have to handle those situations just because that's the personality of your dog. Another reason would be lack of socialization. If you don't properly socialize your dog from a young age, he will become an insecure dog and he will be afraid of going anywhere. So that will prevent from spending more time with him, and that's the main reason of why someone gets a dog, to spend time with him. So it's very important to socialize your dog from a young age. And the last reason of why your dog would be fear aggressive is because he had an abusive past. If your dog was neglected in the past, what's going to happen is that your dog is going to be afraid of everything, because that's the only life he knows. He has been scared for all of his life, so you're going to have to help him get out of his shell and teach him that the world is safe. The way you would handle each scenario would be the same. You're going to have to identify the triggers that make your dog afraid, and you want to prevent them. The moment you identify the triggers, you can prevent something bad happening. The second type of aggression that we're going to be talking about is resource aggression or resource guarding. And resource guarding is very common in dogs, actually very common in puppies as well. You can see that when they're litter mates. The reason that it's very common is because they don't understand the concept of sharing. And resource guarding happens when the dog feels that his resources are going to be stolen. So he has to defend those resources because he thinks that he needs those resources to survive. An example would be if you're feeding your dog and another dog comes by, his food bowl walking by, and your dog starts growling and snapping at the other dog. He feels that the other dog is gonna steal his food. In this case, the food is a resource, so he's guarding his resource. So that's the main way to understand resource guarding. If you want to prevent your dog from being resource aggressive from a puppy, is that he has to eat from your hand. Every time he's eating, you can pat him, and you want to associate that your presence when he's eating or playing with a toy that he really likes is positive. You don't want to challenge him with his food or take away his bowl while he's eating or something like that. No, you want actually, like, if you're near him, add a value treat towards his food bowl, like add a piece of real meat, add a piece of cheese, something that he really likes, so he knows that every time you're nearby, it's gonna add to his experience, not gonna take away. Also, if you need help to handle those situations, what you like to do is, let's say you have your dog at your house, and your dog is resource aggressive, and another dog comes by, or even another people come by. What you want to do is put his toys and food bowl away, out of sight and out of reach. So that way he has nothing to guard. The third type of aggression that we're going to be talking about is barrier frustration or barrier aggression. And this usually happens when there's a physical barrier between two dogs or a dog and a person. And the dogs simply feels that his territory is gonna be invaded, or he has to protect his territory. And this is kind of the least type of aggression that I'm worried about, because there's literally a physical barrier that protects your dog or the other person or dog from being injured. And also sometimes I found it funny because probably you have seen the videos of two dogs barking and growling at each other, and when you take away the barrier, they're fine with each other. So sometimes I don't mind the barrier frustration or barrier aggression, because technically it's your dog's job to protect or alert you when someone is near your house, because that's what technically he's doing, and also telling the other person that don't come near me, this is my house. So technically it's your dog doing the right thing, because it's his place, you know, you don't want to correct him for that. But if it really bothers you, what you want to do is, there's a collar called ultrasonic collar, which emits a high pitched noise, which every time your dog barks is gonna emit a high pitched noise, and your dog is not gonna like it, but that up to you. So you can do whatever you want with that information I just gave you. But that's barrier frustration and barrier aggression. Now we're gonna be talking about the last type of defensive aggression, which is pain-induced aggression. And this type of aggression happens when your dog is physically harmed, physically injured, and he's scared, so he has the feeling that he has to protect himself. And if this is actually happening to your dog, you have to take him to the vet right away, because he's literally hurting, and he probably has something inside that is bothering very much. What you want to do in this case, as I said, is maybe put him a muzzle just in case, and just don't pet him, let him be by himself for a little while if he doesn't feel comfortable. But if he feels comfortable with you petting him, then that's fine. But again, if he's in such a pain that he is not allowing you to pet him or just touching him, you have to take him to the vet right away. So the video is getting a little bit long, so I'm gonna end it there. I'm gonna do part 2 next week. Next week we're gonna be talking about the offensive type of aggressions. But if you stayed until the end, I appreciate that. The way I would like you to show your support is by giving a like, leaving a comment, and subscribing to the channel. That would help very much. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.